Okay, in this video I'm going to look at the concept underlying exercise 6 on worksheet 4. From your point of view, the real question is how to place an object on screen based on mouse clicking the screen. So the idea is I click the mouse anywhere on the screen and I put something there, or I use that information. So how do I do it? So let's start with the most basic way, the most basic starting point. We import graphics and we use this line which sets up our canvas. Then once we've got our canvas, we can simply get a point. Let's just do it before we do anything here. We get a point, let's place it at, I don't know, at 100, 100. And then let's just draw it. Okay, draw it on the window. So I've just got a point at 100, 100 and drawing it on the window. Let's just test that that works. So let's run it. Bear with me a second. I don't think I ran the right file. Let me go and run this particular file, and it flashed on screen and disappeared. Very, very useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a pause function. Bear with me a second. This function down here is just acting as a pause. Okay, so what it will do in my environment will just stop my code from my screen from flashing in front of you. So I'm just going to put it down there and I'm just going to say don't worry about that at the moment. Okay, let's run it. There we go. It's drawn a point at 100, 100. That's all it did. Okay, so the next step is to see, I want to click the mouse on the screen. Okay, now if I click the mouse on the screen, this software is going to pass me lots of information, including the information of the point, and it's going to store it inside here. So this line of code here says when you click the mouse, right, it's a bit confusing because it says get mouse. When you click the mouse on this screen, this little window I've created, bear with me a second, I don't think I need that. Using the window, it's going to click that and it's going to pass me the information. Now inside that information is point information. It's going to actually give me a point, right? But first of all, let's just do that, and instead of this line down here which draws a point at 100, 100, I'm going to take my point and I'm just going to draw a point at the point of wherever I click. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So this code here should open up a screen, attach my code to it, wait for a mouse click. When I click the mouse, it's going to pass all the information about where I clicked it, and then I'm going to draw a point, because inside this P is all point information. Let's just see that that works. So there's my interface, click, and there's my mouse click. Okay, so just so you can see the variety of this, and we can do it for more than once, I'm just going to do it 2 or 3 times. Right, so I'm going to put it in a loop. So say I pop it there, and inside the loop I'm going to get the mouse click and I'm going to draw, and I'm going to do it 3 times now. I'm not going to do it just once, so you can see it a little bit more. Let's run it. So there's my screen, click it once, there's a point, click it twice, there's a point, click it 3 times, there's a point, click it again, it will close because it's only going to run 3 times. It waits for that one before it disappears. So that's a very basic mechanism of using the information from a click on a mouse to draw an object. So the real interesting element here is let's draw different types of objects. But let's try to be clever about it. Okay, let's tidy up our code a bit later to see how we can do different types of objects. Here, I'm just taking the raw point and I'm drawing it. But what happens if I make that the center of a circle? If I make the point I click at the center of a circle. So let's shift that down a bit. So instead of P, let's say I'm going to have the letter C, or even clearer if I just say the word center, right? And then I'm going to get a circle object. I'm going to pass it the center that I've just got, give it a fixed radius of say 10, and I'm going to draw it. Okay, so let's have a look at that, how that works. Right, so first line of code gets the click from the mouse, passes it into this variable which stores it. It then uses that point information for the circle object and the radius and draws it there. Now currently we're just drawing a circle, we're not filling it. It'd be quite good if we filled it so we could, you know, occupy some space. So what we can do is circle, and there's a set fill function, and let's just set it to blue. Okay, so let's see how that code works. Bring it in screen, click. Oh, it didn't like that. It completely broke my application. So let's have a look why. It said unbounded set fill method blue must be called with circle instance as first argument. So the issue here is that I'm trying to fill it, but actually it's got no link to that circle. So actually if I just attach that circle to there, take that line of code out there and say draw C like that, right, on the window, and then if I say C, fill it. Right, so now the reason that I've done these changes is that I create the circle object, I hold it, a reference to it in this C, I then use that to help draw it, and then another line I use it to fill. This still may not work, but it's very useful to see errors. Let's have a look. Click, there's a blue, there's a blue, there's a blue, done. Okay, so that shows you how to do it with circles. Let's do it so we can have another variation which simply takes 2 points and draws a line between them. So let's get rid of all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have point 1, and I'm going to say when you click the mouse the first time on that window, put all the point information there, and then you click the mouse somewhere else, window, get mouse, and put all the information there. And then what I'm going to do is ask a line object. A line object is just made from 2 points, P1, P2, and because I'm not going to do anything else other than just draw it, I'm going to do it all in the same line. Okay, I'm not going to hold a reference to it because I'm going to do all my line activity in just one line. If I was going to hold activity, I would split it in 2 different ways. Let's test that works. So run it. Oops, it just vanished very, very quickly. Bear with me a second. Let's run that and see what happened. So it's flashing on screen and disappearing very, very quickly. It's probably because if you look at the error, if I could be bothered to check the code, it's clearly complaining up here, and it's saying get mouse takes exactly 1 argument. I've given it 2. So actually, I need to get rid of those. Now, why do I show you those errors? Because they're very easy to make those simple errors, and it's very good practice to learn to see how to correct them. So there's my first point, and I've clicked it again, and it's drawn a line between them. So let's do a nice little loop as we did before, so we can do several lines. Let's go for I in range, let's do 3, right? And then let's take our individual line of code and drawing a line between them. Bear with me a second, let's tab that across so they all belong to that loop. So I'm going to do this 3 times. Pair of points, get rid of it so they're all together. Okay, so let's see this happen. So I click here and I click there. First line, I click there and I click there. Second line, click there and I click there. So that's a very, very simple mechanism to put a line on. So it's a good point to stop. In the next video, I will do the text.